had I not gotten past that IIE, what I like to call the IIE, which is basically the initial idea excitement. A lot of us have that initial idea excitement where it's like, yeah, man, I just got this cool idea. I really want to do this, or I really want to do that. But after that high, you kind of reach that, after you peaked out, you have excitement, you kind of lower your energy, and then you just forget about what you're doing. You just go about your day. I'm Andre, and this is the Speak Your Life podcast, where we talk about everything as it relates to education, careers, values, mentors, and anything to do with purpose. We do this one impactful conversation at a time, whether it's solo dolo with yours truly or our amazing guests to share stories, industry insights, encouraging words, and calls to action that can help you get closer to your why. Become a part of the Speak Your Life community by subscribing today to the podcast and following us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Speak Your LYFE, because life without your why is meaningless. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Speak Your Life podcast. My name is Andre Fluel, and I'm your host. Today, we are so excited to bring you the 17th episode. Today, we're going to be talking about this message is short pencil better than long memory. All right, so there's three things that we want to cover today. And one is how writing down your goals is so powerful. Two, examples of my own life and stories that can help you understand the importance of it as well. And three, easy guides to getting you started writing and achieving your goals today. So let's go ahead and get started, all right? Forbes once had an article that basically talked about how Harvard did a study with their MBA students and found out and measured the success of their students after graduating. And they found that the 3% who wrote down their goals were like more likely to earn more, and they found that they were able to earn 10 times more than their counterparts, their non-goal writing classmates who were graduating with them in the same class after 10 years of graduating from Harvard. And so that basically just shows that writing your goals down is so important, so vital, guys. I can't stress that enough. And if Harvard says it, I'm definitely believing it. When you write down your goals and stick to writing your goals and putting it in a place that you can see it, that's so important as well. Because you can't just put it and write it down, put it on your bed, and thinking the tooth fairy is just gonna grant your magic wish, because it doesn't work like that. You gotta put it in a place where people can see it, where you can see it. That's what really matters, where you can see it, and you keep yourself accountable by seeing it every single day, because sometimes we write cool things down and we might forget them, and we're just like, oh well, we'll just move on with our lives. But if you really are serious about your goals, you're really serious about getting your career started or your business started or whatever you want to start, just write it down and put it in a place where you can see it every single day. When you write your goals, it ignites your reticular activating system. You're probably wondering, what in the world is a reticular activating system? Well, I'm going to tell you. It's basically part of the brainstem that is involved with regulating wakefulness, arousal, and some aspects of sleep, according to neuroscientificallychallenged.com. And basically, every time you see your written goals and you see your ideas, you see your mission, it helps to trick your subconscious into thinking that you've already done it, but not in a way that breeds complacency, but to get your butt up and just act like you already have what it takes. Because a lot of times we're just like wonder, well, I'll get to that point when I have such and such skills. I'll do that when I have this ready and lined up. No. You need to write it down, look at it, and do it now. Because like I said, it's going to trick your subconscious to act like you already have the tools and what it takes, because you already do. You have what it takes. Just do it. Just execute it. Whether it's starting a business, whether it's starting that podcast, whether it's starting that YouTube channel, or even that book you always talked about. Just get it started and just get it started today. Back in college, I remember I was a former econ major, and I had this professor, shout out to Dr. Diffine. I don't remember anything in this class, but one thing I do remember was this: short pencil is better than long memory. Short pencil is better than long memory. And I remember taking this class, and I remember taking those words to heart. So much to the point where, I was so set on writing down that I was going to get a 4.0 GPA my first semester of college, because high school, your boys grades were so terrible, really bad. I really wanted to turn that around, and so I was like, all right, cool. So I wrote down my goals. I was like, all right, 4.0 GPA, that's the goal. Let's do it. Let's get it. So then, like, towards the end of my first semester in college, I was so close. I had a 3.8 GPA. You know why? You want to really know why? It's because I had 189 in my English literature class. But it's all good. It's all good. It really helped me and humbled me to like realize that, all right, I just need to work that much harder. Man, that 89, still gets to me. But anyways, so I was so determined that I worked even harder that next semester. I wrote down that goal, 4.0. It didn't change. I put it in a place where I could see it every single day. I put it next to my, I put it on my desk. I wrote it down. I put it on my laptop. And I taped it there. Like, I put it everywhere. Like, everybody who, all my friends who would come and visit me, I'm like, dang, man, you really serious about this goal? I'm like, yeah, man, I'm serious. So I ended up getting that 4.0 GPA. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I finally got it, and it worked out, and I kind of coasted after that. I got a little complacent. But anyway, that's not the point of the story. Basically, it's important to realize that there's so much power in writing down your goals. And, this is just a small example of how writing down your ideas, your thoughts are so important, because I know for this podcast, I had a lot of cool ideas, a lot of awesome people I want to invite to interview and stuff like that. But, I would have forgotten about all those things had I just, had I not gotten past that IIE, what I like to call the IIE, which is basically the initial idea excitement. A lot of us have that initial idea excitement where we're just like, yeah, man, I just got this cool idea. I really want to do this, or I really want to do that. But, after that high, you kind of reach that, after you peaked out of excitement, you kind of lower your energy, and then you just forget about what you're doing. You just go about your day. And so it's just crazy because, back in the 1800s, you remember the gold rush. Everybody, had these sifters. They sifted through and they got the gold, and that's how they were able to extract gold. Basically, you should think of your pencil or whatever you write down as a sifter. It sifts out the great ideas, the gold that you have that's in here, in your mind. So we all have a lot of great goals. We all have a lot of great ideas. We just need to write them down because they're like gold and they're so valuable. Only valuable when you sift through them and you refine them and you make them better. And so Huffington Post had a story about Dr. Gail Matthews of Dominican University in California, and did an independent study to find out that those who wrote their goals down were 42% more likely to achieve them, and are even more likely to achieve them if they had a supportive person in their life to share them with. So find those friends, find those positive people that you always have in your life, and you're just like, they're always supporting you, they're always there for you. Find those people, surround yourself with them, and share those goals. Have them to keep you accountable, because sometimes it's like when you're working out, like you have that. I know for me, when I'm working out, I have my accountability buddy. Like, he's always there. He's making sure that I'm all right. Today we're doing shoulders. All right, today we're doing legs. Today we're doing arms. Even if I don't want to, I'm going to do it because I am having somebody that's keeping me accountable. Just in the same way, you may have a cool idea, a great thing you want to accomplish. Make sure you have an accountability buddy. All right. So on the same note, be careful who you share your ideas with, because if you make the mistake of telling the wrong person, your ideas could die along with your confidence in executing them. So just be mindful, just be very wise in how you go about doing that. Use discernment. So, as we wrap things up, I just wanted to, share some lessons that I've learned in my time as an entrepreneur and a podcast host that have helped me to really elevate and just take my ideas and manifest them into ways that can actually help people. And so one of those things is, remember when I talked about the IIE, the initial idea excitement? Well, it's during this time is the perfect time to write those ideas down. Take your pencil right now. Take your pencil. I can't even talk right now. Take your pencil. And also, if you got a laptop, if you're like me and you're a Google Docker, I like to Google Doc every single thing. So all my people that I want to have on my podcast, all the titles for new podcast episodes, I have them written down in a long list here on my Google Docs. So, like I said, get your pencil out, get your pens out, and get your laptops out and start writing, because you gotta write down those ideas. They're like, like I said, they're like the sifters. They're sifting through the gold that you have in here, that you have in your mind. And not only that, guys, keep it in a place that you can see it every single day, whether it's your mirror in your bathroom, whether it's in your kitchen, on the refrigerator, whether it's somewhere on the wall in your bedroom, whatever, like in a place that you can see it, because like what you don't, out of sight, out of mind. You always hear that. That's so true. And even with your goals, like if you don't see, like you had that, initial excitement, and then you like wrote it down, but then like I said, you put it under the pillow, like there's no tooth fairy that's going to come in and grant your wish. It doesn't work like that. You got to make sure that you are executing those ideas, and you're more likely to execute those ideas when your subconscious is tricked to acting like it's already you already have the tools and what it takes to accomplish that thing. So that's why you have to make sure it's placed in front of you every single day that you can see it. All right, number 2. I'm going to break it down for you guys. All right. So breaking it down is basically number 2. And the easiest way to eat a giraffe is in pieces. Usually they say eat an elephant, but I don't like to eat elephants because I like elephants so much. So we're going to use the example of a giraffe this time. So you don't want to get overwhelmed and bogged down. So just keep it simple, because a lot of times we have like really cool ideas. They have really, people have like really exciting things that they want to do. But the thing is, they're just so bogged down in the process, because it's like, if it takes 100 steps, you got to start with the first step. So take it in pieces and chunks and break it down. So if you're a musician, for example, and you have the coolest album, you're like, yeah, I'm going to just have Kanye featured on there, and I'm going to have some great producers making sure that this album's engineered properly so that I can become number 1 on Spotify and Apple and all that stuff. That's cool. That's a great idea. But make sure you break your idea down into manageable ways, all the way from album to the individual song, all the way to the individual verse, and even the words. So break it down. Just break it down. Keep it simple. And the last thing is, number 3, which is King Arthur was famous for a lot of things. He was famous for, taking the sword out of the rock. He was famous for a lot of things. But one of the things that he was really famous for was his round table. These are the core group of people, his inner circle that he trusted, he loved. And, they all had different perspectives. But they all were there to support King Arthur. They were all people that he trusted. They were in his group of council. And so make sure that you have your own round table. Create your own round table. Think of people that you know that would not only support you, but also bring some good perspective to what it is you're doing. So if you're, a musician, find some other musicians that you look up to, that you respect, and people that you could really learn from. Because, you have to, like I said, you have to be careful who you bring in and all that stuff, because there's a lot of people who may support you, but you have to be careful of adhering to certain advice, especially from people who may love you, have maybe the greatest intentions, but they don't always necessarily have the experience that in an area that you're in that could really enhance your idea. So just be careful, be mindful that now there are times when you actually can learn a lot from other people and from other industries, and that's totally fine. But all I'm saying and I'm advocating for is just be mindful of who you get your advice from and who you just take that in. And so all that to say is that we talked about 3 things, guys. We talked about how writing down your ideas and your goals is so powerful. And we talked about that Harvard study that showed the 3% that, wrote down their goals and their ideas, and after graduating within 10 years, they earned 10 times more than their counterparts, that 97% who did not write down their goals. Number 2, we talked about, examples, short pencils better than long memory. My professor, Dr. Diffine, who shared that with me, and I used that to have some academic success back in college, and how you can use that idea of short pencil long memory, short pencil better than long memory in your own idea. Excuse me. And the third thing we talked about is an easy guide, 3-step guide to get started with writing and achieving your goals right now, today, at this moment. So thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. Be sure to subscribe on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and if you're on Apple Podcasts, be sure to give us a nice review. If you connected with anything today on this episode. And if you have any questions, comments, or you just want to hit us up, find us and follow us on Speak Your Life. That's Speak Your L-Y-F-E, because life without your Y is meaningless. And guys, I must also say that podcasts are free to listen to for you guys, but they are not free for us as hosts. So feel free to support the podcast through our Patreon. I'm gonna leave a link below. I just started a Patreon account not too long ago, and please feel free to support. And there's something as little as $10, $5, or even $1 a month would be greatly appreciated. So thank you all again so much. Love you guys, and we will see you on the next episode.